Hello everyone, welcome to Simple Data Science. I'm Kishore and today I'll give you a demo of Google Colab and some of the things that we can do with Google Colab. We will try to install uh, more pip packages inside our Google Colab instance, and we will try to mount data from our Google Drive. I will also show you, once you have a notebook ready, how you can push it onto your GitHub account into a repository. And also my favorite feature is that I can open any IPython notebook which is available on GitHub from within Google Colab and start executing those cells and play around with it. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Let me quickly go into colab.research.google.com. So when you do this, you will have to uh, log into your Google account, which I have already done it, so I'm not seeing that. So you see this splash screen where you just have to click on new notebook, and a new notebook will be created in no time. Okay, here we are. So there's no name for this Python notebook. This ipynb stands for ipython notebook. So this is a instance, however it's not connected to any runtime yet. So let's just click on connect, and so this, what happens is, in the backend it connects to the Google compute engine. So we have a RAM, we have a CPU, and we can also have a GPU connected as well. When we go to runtime, then change runtime type. So you want some acceleration like a GPU or TPU, you can select GPU or TPU based on your requirement and save. For this demo I don't need it, just for uh, demonstration purpose I just used a GPU. Okay, from here let's see. As I have already told you in my previous video, that most of the Python packages that you need for data analysis and machine learning, deep learning, are pre-installed. You don't have to install anything. For example, if you need to use pandas, you can just use import pandas as pd, and it just got executed, which means the panda library is already there. We have just imported it within this notebook. But sometimes there could be a few packages that we need and they are not available within this. So what can we do in such cases? In such cases we can use our uh, pip install packages commands inside this notebook by just prefixing it with an exclamation mark. And if you use this exclamation mark, you can execute any Linux commands that you want. Say which working directory I'm in now. Let's do pwd present working directory, and it will show us, okay, it's inside slash content folder. So the storage actually works from your Google Drive. So your Google Drive will be mounted. I will also show you how you can use custom datasets after you upload it to Google Drive and you want to do some analysis on Google Colab later. So coming back to the pip installation, let's try to install AutoML library. Pip install AutoML library. Let's see. Okay, so it automatically downloads all these packages, extracts it, unpackages it, and installs. If there is any requirement, like, so it needed a different pandas version, so it uninstalled the older version, installed the newer version, and it's done. So it requires a restart of runtime to take this package installation into effect. So let's restart runtime. Are you sure you want to restart runtime? Local variables will be lost, no problem. So it's getting auto initialized. Okay, now I have AutoML installed. So similarly, you can use the same exclamation followed by pip install package name to install any packages that you want. Okay, moving on. Suppose we want to mount data from our Google Drive. You have some data from on your Google Drive and you want to mount it. How do you do that? So let's go ahead into Google Drive and see. Okay, I already have a folder called data, and inside that I have a CSV data file, which is Titanic dataset I have. So let's try to mount this Titanic dataset. This is just an example that I'm showing, so I have imported a very simple one. So if you have a lot of images and stuff like that, you can upload it onto your Google Drive. I think you get 15 GB of memory, so you can upload all that and you can start using uh, the data within this Colab notebook. So for that uh, we need to authorize Google Colab instance to take access data on our Google Drive. For that we have a Google SDK which we need to import and mount our drive. Let's do that. So you need to use Google from google.colab import drive. Then what you do is you do drive.mount /content/g drive. Execute this. What happens is that, as I said, you need to authenticate this. So just click on this URL. You'll be taken to this page. Click on the account that you want to use. It's gonna edit and delete all drive files, and I mean it will have that access. So you need to permit. Once you allow, you get this unique authentication code. Take that, put it into your authorization code, hit enter. Okay, now the Google Drive has got mounted. So if I do ls, which is listing out the uh, directories and files in my on this instance, this is the thing. So G drive is what I'm getting. So what I now want is to access this Titanic dataset which is inside my drive, inside data folder, data directory. So let's try to do that. So how do I navigate to that? Let's see. Ls, you have to do content G drive, my drive, data. Let's see if it shows our Titanic dataset. Yes, we are able to see our Titanic.csv, which means the mounting is working and I'm able to access the dataset on my Google Drive. Now let's try to read this data CSV file into a data frame using pandas and try to print the information. Let's try. We have imported our pandas. Yes, we have. So df equals pd dot read CSV, and I need to give the full path of this. This followed by my Titanic CSV file. Once I do that, let me do a head method to print out first 5 lines of the dataset. Let's see if that works. No, it doesn't. Says name PD is not defined. Okay, we restarted the runtime and all my imports are gone. I will have to do that again. Let me do that. Import pandas as PD. Okay, let's execute. Should work this time. Okay, cool. So I'm able to see my dataset. First 5 rows, Titanic dataset. Cool. So similarly, you can use any other dataset. It can be even images, any big file that you want to use. Uh, well, you might ask me, why do you have to do that when you can install Anaconda on your local system and import datasets on all that? Why you have to take trouble uploading data into Google Drive and do that? The problem is, with our local machines, if you don't have a GPU, then your training of deep learning models will take a lot of time and it's not advisable. But with Google Colab, we get a GPU attached free for us. So if you have a lot of images and you want to train a deep learning model, definitely use Google Colab. So your training speeds are really bumped up. Okay, next thing that I wanted to show you is if you want to import any uh, any dataset available on github.com, how do you reference it? So let's, okay, here is here is a link directly from github.com. I'll show you how this looks like on GitHub. Okay, this is how. So how did I get it? Which is, let me, github.com slash, let me do that. Okay, mass quantity, and I needed Kaggle Titanic, right? So Kaggle Titanic dataset, or let me pick up a house prices one. There's data here. So if you no, this is not the data. This is not the data. Okay, let's go back and check some other. Okay, let me just pick up a simple Kaggle Titanic dataset. Go to data folder. You have train data, test data, and gender submission of CSV. So if you hover on this train dataset, you just click on it, and then click on raw. What you end up getting is this URL. Directly using this link, you will be able to access the dataset directly from Google, from GitHub. So to do that, let's do df2 equals pd dot read underscore csv. Paste this df2 dot head. Let's execute it. Okay, cool. We have this dataset. So without having to install anything, download anything, we are able to directly reference things from github.com onto your Google Colab notebook. Now you can go ahead and do any kind of analysis, build models, and so on. Now if you want to save this notebook into your GitHub repository, so maybe you want to share it with someone, you want to reference it later point of time, you can do all that. Let's just save it, Google Colab demo. Let me, okay, I have renamed this notebook. Now I want to save it in GitHub. So what you do is you go to file, you go to save a copy in GitHub. It needs some kind of authorization. Okay, let's do the authorization. You can give your GitHub credentials here. Okay, when you retry it, so this page will have, it has pulled up all the repositories on your GitHub account. So what I have done is I have created a new repository on GitHub, which is Google Colab tutorial on YouTube. So I'm gonna select that, and it's gonna show how many branches are there. Just one main branch, and this is the IPython notebook name. So when you click on OK, and I'll show you why this is important. Include a link to collaboratory. Click on OK. Now this notebook creates a copy and it automatically saves into your on your GitHub repository, as you can see. So it's already there. The reason you left the checkbox ticked on include Google Colab link is because this one. So now you have this whole notebook on your GitHub repository. If you want to open it directly in Colab, so you want to play around with the code here, you just have to click on this one, this button, and it opens the page. It opens the notebook, so you can play around with that. No, yes. So let me show you one more thing. My favorite thing is that suppose you are browsing through some of the interesting Python notebooks on GitHub, but you want to tweak something there and play around with the code. So what you do is you can find any IPython notebook on GitHub. Say I have this sample uh, IPython notebook open. So this is from Dustin Alanzes. So he writes Python and things like that. So he has this IPython notebook. You want to play with this notebook. So what do you do? Ideally, if you don't use Google Colab, you'll have to download this, start your Jupyter notebook on your local machine, and then open this notebook and play around with it. So instead of that, all you have to do is you find this. So you just replace the URL, you remove this .com, you just say colab.research.google.com/github. So what happens is the same Python notebook now opens up inside your Google Colab. All you need to do is just click on connect. It's connecting. This runtime could be because it was uh, done using a very old Python version. Now we are using Python 3. Okay, now it's connected. So if I want to load anything, if I want to execute this cell, all I have to do is click on this warning. This notebook was not authored by Google. No problem, run anyway. I know it's by a different person. Okay, it got executed. So let's see, let's execute a couple of more cells. Okay, import node, create a matrix. It's a sparse matrix that got created. Let's see if, okay, the matrix got printed. So this way you can open any Python notebook on github.com. Just go to GitHub and look for any Python notebook that you want. Say you want to um, search for deep learning CNN ipynb. Okay, let me open one of these. So deep learning example Jupyter notebook. Okay, so now if you want to execute this notebook, all you need to do is just replace this, remove the .com, and go prefix GitHub with colab.research.google.com/. Now this notebook will be loaded directly onto your Google Colab instance. Run anyway. I know it's getting allocated, it's getting connected to the backend compute engine, it's getting executed. Okay, so it's got executed. So this way you will be able to use your data science learning or um, experiments can be a lot more faster if you don't have GPU on your local machine. All you want is play around with your GitHub, open repositories, notebook by IPython notebooks and all that. Google Colab is very handy. So that's all I had for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this content, let me know your feedback, and also tell me what other content you would like to see on this channel. Thank you so much. I'll catch you up in the next video.